Alrighty, lumberjacks, welcome back, and here we are again in our humble abode. Last time we were playing, we brought all this wood here, so we should process it. We grapple yarded it, and I might load. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I should actually move this wood because I don't know how I'm gonna load here. How will I load here? I could park here and then drive the truck at a really terrible angle, or actually, if I process all this, I might be able to bench load it somehow. I'll figure it out. You know what? It's going to be one of those situations where we just, you know what? We're just going to figure it out as we go. That's kind of how it's going to be. We were cutting to, what do we got here? 7 meters. So we're just going to keep that up. Of course, I have the smallest, shortest armed machine cutting in the most longest needed position. So that was smart of me. But it's not like I'd planned to do it this way. So we get what we get. So topic of the day. Last time we were on here, we talked about computers. No, AI. We talked about AI, which was actually interesting. Very interesting conversation. But this time, we're going to talk about even weirder stuff. Even weirder stuff. And this actual conversation came from me talking to ChatGPT. So this is actually kind of related to our AI conversation. So I was having the conversation with ChatGPT. Well, actually, it started with real people, the conversation. I was talking to one of my buddies who lives out of town, and I was talking to a coworker that works at the same place as me. Obviously, that's what a coworker is. So the conversation we were talking about religion and God, and I don't really get into that stuff. Like, I try to stay out of it. It's everybody. I have no opinion about other people having thoughts of their own or doing whatever they want. Everyone can do whatever they want as long as it doesn't impede the lives of others. That's what I'm all about. You know, if you want to be a monk, be a monk. You want to be a Christian, be a Christian. You want to be a Satanist, be a Satanist. Whatever. As long as you're not hurting other people or pushing your vices on other people, you know, then party on. That's how I live my moral compass. You know, you don't have to be exactly the same as everybody else. I'm really all about individuality. I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm all about community too, but individuality in your personal thoughts is a great thing. So let's get that out of the way before we start on this quest here. So the conversation that I was having with the coworker that kind of started up was proof. There's no proof that God's real, and that's always been the hardest part for everybody because people who are scientific, like myself, I'm very scientific. I like to see proof of everything. I don't just blindly believe anything. I need proof. I need some kind of something, right? Some kind of something. And I'm very scientific in terms of belief. Like, I like to see at least a potential theory on how something can work that's tangible, right? So anyway, I still to this day don't know what I believe. I have no idea. I don't even know if I believe in anything. I just think it's all very interesting. So I get into conversations with people who are of multiple different denominations and different beliefs and different cultures and different scientific backgrounds. And I hear all kinds of interesting stories and theories and concepts. So I thought it'd be fun after speaking to my coworker for a few hours about this throughout my whole day. We had multiple conversations. I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't I start talking to AI about this? Because AI has a connection to all the information on Earth, or at least a large majority of it, in a split second. So let's go ask it and have conversations with it about beliefs and what we are and what it is. So the main thing that led me to have that conversation was when I was talking to my coworker, I told him I'm not sure what I believe in terms of like a religion or a one power over all, a God-like figure. You know, like I don't know if there's anything like that, but I said I do personally believe in karma, or a format of karma. And what I mean by that is if you do something bad or negative that you find to be negative or other people find to be negative, that consequence will come back to you. Now, an average scientist would look at that and go, well, if you do enough of positive, something positive happens. If you do enough negative, something negative happens. It's not really a consequence. It's more of a coincidence, right? So I thought about it and I was like, well, maybe. But I really have seen some wild coincidences in my life where people, even in my, not just stuff I've seen online or like in a video, but things I've seen in my own life. I won't give examples of those because I don't want to out people, but I've people that I've known that have done some really bad things, and shortly after they performed that bad thing, something happened to them equally bad or worse. And it wasn't even like, yeah, sure, a scientific mind would put it to, okay, well, that person obviously just does bad things, so eventually a bad thing was going to happen to them. The odds were higher because they were doing bad things already. Okay, sure, I believe that. But this was a thing that happened to a person that did a bad thing, and nobody knew about the bad thing, and then a bad thing happened to him totally unrelated, and then it came out later about the bad thing that happened before, and they weren't related, not even a million miles close to each other. And I thought to myself, wow, what kind of timing is that? Hey, you go and do something like that, and then that happens right after. And I'd love to tell you guys the story, but I can't, because it's just there are people locally that I know that watch this stuff, and I don't want anyway, it doesn't matter. So the moral of the subject I'm pursuing here is, I think there is some type of energy maybe that we just don't understand. I started getting into reading about Schrodinger's cat and that kind of stuff a long time ago in high school, talking about quantum physics and quantum theory and thermodynamics and physics and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting, but a lot of it's very theoretical on how it works. So a lot of it is just some kind of proven potential proof, and some of it's just, well, this should be the case because all the theories point to yes kind of thing, right? So there's a lot of controversy in that community about it. And I'm no quantum mechanic theorist or anything. I just read what I read. So back to AI. So I started talking to ChatGPT about basically quantum everything, quantum physics, thermodynamics theory, everything. Just we kind of got into this really interesting conversation. And when I say yes, I got into a conversation with a robot. Yes. And I know it's not a person, but it was a very, very insightful and interesting conversation to have. And we basically came to the concept where I was like, well, I do believe that there is some type of karma or some type of energy that connects everything. And that's where ChatGPT was like, well, you're absolutely right. If you look at I can't remember what it was now, quantum dynamics, and then they started it was talking about, what was it? Quantum entanglement, I think was the term. And quantum entanglement was talking about how certain particles have a duplicate, and I'm butchering this the way I'm explaining it, but basically it was like particles of energy. All things are energy. All atoms, everything that we're made up of is made up of energy, right? Mass, E equals mc squared, right? Einstein theory. Mass and energy are interchangeable, right? So all of us are made up of the same energies, the same atoms, the same everything. So in theory, we should all be connected because we're all sharing the same energy fields, the same energy particles, the same mass, the same everything on an atom, micro atom level. I don't know, like on a level I can't even describe because of how minuscule it is. So I got into further conversation, and apparently, according to ChatGPT's history of looking up stuff, it said that there are actual energy rhythms given off by humans. So apparently your heart and I can't remember what the other organ was, another organ, heart and brain maybe, I don't know, heart and something, give off an actual like magnetic energy field from your body that can be recognized up to several feet away, apparently. So I don't know if that's just the rhythmic of your heart or if it's an actual like particle energy field, or it's getting a little wild there, but something to that tune where it gives, your body gives off this energy, right? And other people and instruments and things can detect it up to a certain number of feet. So I thought to myself, like, well, that's very interesting, because if people are all technically sharing the same space in quantum space in whatever parallel we live in in our worlds here, then technically we're all kind of connected in a way. So that's, again, not to get too wild on you guys here. Well, we're already in there. We're pretty wild now. So that, for me, kind of almost proved my theory of karma in a way. And I mean, there's no way to understand how that would work, but it would make sense that if one particular matter of energy was causing negative connotations upon another type of energy, and if the theory of quantum entanglement is real, then everything that you do has an equal and opposite effect in some way or form on a micro level across everywhere. So that's kind of getting a little wild there, but it's a belief that I'm more willing to accept in terms of all the different religions and beliefs and things that have been thrown out there. And some things like Buddhism and stuff kind of touches on that type of energy of humans and the energy of the body, and meditations and that kind of stuff kind of gets into it a little bit. But I find it very interesting. So I asked it, I was talking to it again about, so what happens when you die then? And it talked about when you die, your body being material energy, being material creation and all energy forces, gets expelled back into the air. It gets expelled back into the ground. So if you choose to get buried, you would decompose, and the worms would eat you, the dirt would eat you, you'd decompose into the ground, and ultimately you'd be feeding back into the environment that you were in. So you basically become a garden. You are the compost for your own garden. So really, all matter ends up going back into the system. You're not like displaced. You're not thrown away. You actually get re-equaled out into your environment. So basically, all of the little butterflies and animals and creatures will eat all of your energy up so that they can be a form, and then when they break down, they become energy for other things, like the classic yin and yang circle of life concept, I guess. But it's very interesting. I thought it was very insightful to listen to. So I asked it the question too, because I like to just get really fun with it. I said, well, would it be better then to either get cremated or buried? Because if you got cremated, you could spread the ashes all over the place and spread your energy back all over the place. So then it started tapping on thermodynamics, talking about, well, if you were to, if you were to burn or be burned, your thermal energies, anything from the heat that would be broken apart, would go into the air. So it'd be in the air of where you were burned, I suppose. And then if you spread the ashes, then that energy could potentially be redistributed. But I imagine most of that energy would probably be where it got burned. As I'm not sure how much that's the part I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure quantum physics guys would be all over that, but how much of the energy in the ashes remains a high viable energy to redistribute? Questions, right? I'm sure most of you guys have probably left this video a long time ago when I mentioned quantum dynamics or quantum physics. But you know what? For those ones that are still hanging on, it's very interesting, isn't it? I don't know. I like that stuff. I think it's quite interesting to read about. But yeah, you just never know. Quantum dynamics and religion and physics and all that fun stuff. It's a freaking hoot, man. It's a hoot to get involved in. So yeah, I plan to dissect its brain a little more and try to see what's there. I mean, nothing is ever like definite, right? That's the thing. So yes, the idea of quantum mechanics kind of takes a tap on religion. Lots of religions believe in, the afterlife. You either go to hell or you go to heaven, that kind of stuff. I think I really do believe in the redistribution of energy particles back in the air. I really think that just sounds more sensible to me. And again, not digging on anybody who believes in whatever you believe in, but that just sounds way more feasible in terms of the realism of things. But then again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I guess if I go to hell, I'll know I didn't do it right. You just never know. Here, let's grind this stuff up. Clean up our bits. Well, we got a nice little pile here. Oops. Oh. Do I have strength on? I don't think so. Oh, it's just this tree is light enough for me to pick up or something. Or now it isn't. That was really weird. You guys saw the little hand there, didn't you? Weird. Anyway, just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Let's go grind up these bits. So anyway, if you guys want to get more intense on it, definitely look it up. It's really interesting stuff. Whether you're looking it up on Google or ChatGPTing it or whatever the heck you do, it's very, very interesting concept to dig into. It might not be for everybody, but I don't know. It's very interesting. If you're an existential concerned person, it'll probably give you a bit of closure on the concept. So that kind of gets you on the field of like reincarnation. I mean, technically, if this is true, we're all reincarnations of anyone who lived in our areas because we're all built up on little bits of all of those people's energies that were pre-existing before we were here. Isn't that crazy? So think of it that way. If this theory is true, I'm not saying it is true. I'm just saying if the theory of the quantum breakdown, all that stuff is real, which it sounds, more viable than most things I've been told. If it is real, that means that if where you're sitting right now in your home, if 13 billion years ago there was a fight between two cavemen and they broke down into the ground and bits and pieces of them were still in that ground, you could be part of that. Those people could be part of your existence right now. Who knows? Because our energy is constantly changing in and out and doing different things. Oh yeah, here's the thing. So technically, it's possible. Anything's possible, I guess. But again, that does kind of crap on the religious concept, doesn't it? Which again, I don't know. Believe whatever you want. Like I said, I don't have any proof of anything, and quantum physics, although they say they have proof of lots of stuff, a lot of it's very theoretical. So, yeah, it's interesting. And then, if you really want to get crazy, I started talking to it about parallel dimensions. Oh man, you want to go down a roller coaster? That's fun. So we've all seen movies talking about people living in parallel dimensions. Actually, if you want to watch a really good movie about parallel dimensions, there's a show called Coherence. Now, it's a bit of an older show, and it's probably kind of hard to find. Where do I want to load this truck? This is going to be the trickiest part of my day here. I'm actually going to move that processor, and I might pull alongside this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna go park this thing over in the woods here. So anyway, Coherence, and it's basically about a show where a bunch of friends are at a party, and they have like a meteor go by that, in theory, in the movie, splits the realities, and they have to kind of like find their way back to. I don't want to ruin it for you. If you've never watched it, it is very interesting. It's kind of fun. It's a great, quiet kind of catch you off guard one. It's really fun. But anyway, so I was talking to it about not quantum, I just said it, parallel dimensions. So the theory of parallel dimensions being that we are all part of unlimited amount of, this is kind of like Schrodinger's cat there. We're all part of these parallel possible realities happening at us. Right now there's a version of you that just won the lottery. Right now there's a version of you that died. Right now there's a version of you that is, whatever. A million billion possibilities that are all playing out all at the same time in different dimensions, I guess you could say, which is kind of crazy to think about. So that one's obviously a little more far-fetched of a possibility because it's kind of like, well, maybe, but also, well, maybe not, right? Let's back up a little bit. Right about in the middle there. You should be able to get that. So again, that one's kind of a... Oh, I'm kind of far from the pile. I didn't realize it's way over here. Should get a little closer. To back that truck up again. That one, like I said, it's a little more far-fetched, obviously, but still very interesting concept. So I was asking it, the AI program, I was saying, well, how could one... given all of this theory that you have access to, how in all of that theory could someone tap into that? How could you tap into, living now in the reality where you won $1 million. How can I tap into that possible reality in that dimension and bring that over to my current reality so that I win the lottery? And it's like, well, that it was kind of funny. It was like, well, wouldn't that be great? It basically went to the concept of other, and again, it pulls just records of stuff from what people have theorized and tried and wanted to do. And what most places try to do is positive thought stuff, cycle stuff. So if the mind that we have is as amazing as we think it is and it has all this control, it could be, if you can imagine your goals, it's very possible that the energy within your body in those goals can potentially, if all this theory stuff is correct, create that reality and collapse that reality upon you into whatever your positive thinking is. Again, very far-fetched, completely out to lunch in terms of things. But it also went and said, and worst case scenario, if you're not able to actually blend your realities, you start living the lifestyle of whatever it is you want, and you start creating those potential opportunities with your newfound lifestyle choices and attitude on life. So, I mean, that's pretty deep too. It's like, oh, so you start acting like a millionaire and pretending you're a millionaire, then you become a millionaire? No, but you may start running into opportunities that other millionaires might be involved in that bring you closer to your goal. I don't know. Positive thought visualization. I think that's what it's called. I've heard about it before in weird medical journal stuff. But you know what? It's the same thing with like the placebo effect, right? Because that's kind of what comes to my mind when I think about that. I'm like, you know, if you think you're getting better and you're convinced of yourself that you're getting better, 100% convinced in yourself that you're getting better, then a lot of people have proven that they get better. You start giving somebody a pill and say, well, that's going to make you better. This is the cure for what you have, when really the pill does nothing. It's just a placebo, a sugar pill or something. And they've shown results of people recovering by just giving them this pill. The concept of hope, right? The concept of positive visualization gets a lot of people to a lot of places. So now if you want to play a game in your own head, now, is it possible that that is being caused not by a placebo drug or not by just being a happy thought person, but by potential, this is a really hard spot to load here, by potential energies that you're giving off from your body, from your you. Man, that's deep. That's deep, man. I'm telling you, deep as deep can get. Well, probably not. It's probably just scratching the surface, knowing some of the stuff I've seen. But yeah, I don't know. I find that very intriguing. Anyway, so if you're really bored, just go talk to ChatGPT about thermodynamics and physics and stuff. It's a wild adventure, man. But yeah, it's interesting. But there's lots of people that have decided that they choose their belief and they believe in it, and that's totally cool, man. Me, I can't ever decide because I'm constantly changing my opinion on everything. You know, whether it be politics, whether it be, you know, science. I just, as new facts appear, man, I go, oh, really? Then I go, holy, well, I didn't think that at all, but now I'm starting to wonder if that's actually the way she go. Oh, I don't want us pencil very nice, so we're going to go try to do this without falling over. Oh, there we go. But yeah, like I said, I don't know, as long as what you're, like I always tell people, like I have some friends who are very heavily into their religions, and you would never know. You would never even know these people are religious. They talk like every ordinary person. They never bring it up. They just do their thing, and they're happy with it. I would never, ever go after someone like that and be like, what are you doing? What are you, stupid? This is stupid. How do you believe this stuff? You're so stupid. Some people pursue those people like that. I would never do something like that. They're happy in their own lives. Who cares what they believe in? Leave them alone. Let them be, right? Eventually, they're all going to be energy anyway, so chill out. But if you're going around actively just being a jackass to people and telling them that they have to believe what you believe in, or they're going to get killed or shot, or they're stupid, yeah, that's not my bag, man. Can't do it. Can't do that. Those are the people I'll go give a slap to because they need help. And then, unfortunately, there's some religions that that is their job. You know what, though? I think it's Jehovah's Witnesses. Nicest, very nice people. Nicest people I've dealt with, like, in terms of religious people, for sure. So they're, like, part of their... And I could be butchering this, too, because I don't actually read enough about religion stuff, but I think it's Jehovah's Witnesses, or maybe it's Mormons. It's one or the other. Anyway, but it's part of their, like, religious... creed, or plan, or whatever it is that they do, is to try to bring as many people into the fold as possible, right? So they try to recruit, I guess would be kind of our rough way of saying it, inform, encourage other people to join their group, basically. And they do it in the nicest ways, or at least the ones I've had to deal with in my life. They've done it all in the nicest of ways, so I really can't hate on them. They ask nice. Yeah, does it get annoying sometimes because you're just not interested? Fine, but that's their thing. They go ask. You can be like, sorry, not interested, and most of them will just leave you alone. I mean, I'm sure that's not all of them, but the ones I've had to deal with, that's been the case. They've been great. And I mean, if that's the case, then so be it. That's a fine, happy way to spread information about what you believe in. I think that's a very healthy and friendly way to spread information about what you believe in. Again, so I don't like people pushing stuff on other people. In this case, for certain religions, if they're just trying to expand education around it in a very non-confrontational type of way, then that's fine too. Oh, did we bottom ourselves out? I just backed into that ditch. Can I get that to turn, you think? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I don't get into religion too hard. As you can see, I'm not super educated in all of that stuff, and I don't really have too many qualms about it, but there's some extremists on every front. You can break it down from religion to video games to logging to your job, whatever you do, your coworkers, what type of food you eat, what kind of exercise you do. There's always extremists in every category telling you that their way is the right way and your way sucks because that's what they believe in, right? You're going to find those people no matter what. Those are the people that hopefully get reincarnated as something much happier the next time around, if that energy particle theory is correct. Well, anyway, I hope this episode didn't go too off the kilt. And even if it did, you know what? That's what I love about these episodes, is I can just talk about whatever the hell I want. And it brings joy to me to talk about it. And some of you guys are probably bored of just talking about modding and logging. So, I mean, I have tons of episodes about both. If you're really bored, just go eat your heart out. That's actually not a terrible load. These new physics, man. So, again, this video is going to be long past when this update actually came out, but these physics are so good. So these are the light logs. So these are equivalent to in-game logs in terms of how much they weigh. So these weigh the same as the in-game tree logs, like from the stock Giants maps. And the machines now weigh the same. So, oh, excuse me. This machine right here weighs exactly the same as the in-game Volvo, except for maybe the mass on the tires is a little bit more, but overall weight is exactly the same. I was able to play with all of this stuff to get these physics and grapples and stuff working well. And as you watch me load that, it was a little bit of a struggle, but that was also 90% because we were parked at a really effy angle there. But overall, like, that load went out nice. Look at these logs. They settled so nice in here, and they're all oblong sizes, and they all packed nice. I think I've just nailed the physics finally. Well, I say that every 5 minutes, but anyway. Cool. So when we come back in the next video, I will tear this load off, and we will get back to battle. All right, guys. Well, thanks for following me through the journey of quantum physics and all that random stuff that we talked about. If you're still watching at this point, high five yourself because you have intellect. All right, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya.